Arizona is pro sports retirement.
You had no chance with Kelly Kapowski.
You don't make mistakes. It's happy little accidents.
You only live once. Run wild on you. Who would have seen this coming? Oh yeah, it's Rank on Tackling Dummies.
What's cracking, everybody? James Coe, Adam Rank here with you. You are watching the Tackling Dummies. We're just two idiots talking about the world of football. Adam Rank, welcome back to the show, pal.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. And as time continues to go by, I really do believe that I had a chance with Kelly Kapowski. I now want to I want to revisit that and be like, no, I probably could have done it. Maybe with the clothes I'm wearing now. Maybe she likes people who are, decked out.
Well, you have more money now.
That's true.
You're more better off now.
I don't go to Ross anymore. I still go to thrift stores, but I don't go to Ross. Do you go to thrift stores by any chance? Is that where you get your shirts?
I
don't
do not.
mean it as a slam.
I take it at not at all. These are all Amazon purchases, actually. I actually spend an embarrassing amount of time on Amazon looking for t-shirts. That's really what goes.
I have way too many t-shirts. Like, it is an embarrassment how many t-shirts I actually own, and I don't even need them all. And trying to get rid of them is always a problem, because I'm like, I don't wear this shirt, but I still need to keep it.
You know what I do to force myself to cycle through some of these clothes is I just wear them to work out now. Because after 5 or 6 workouts, you don't even care about the shirt anymore. You know what I mean? So after that, then it's like, all right, we can retire this shirt. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But hey, listen, man, we got a interesting show today. Not too many different topics, mostly because I feel like the world is still buzzing. The football world is still buzzing from the match.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, Tom Brady played in a match play thing yesterday, and God, it was just a lot of fun, Adam Rank. I really enjoyed watching it. Although, can I say this, man?
What?
Am I the only person? What was up with the audio? Like, I had to crank my TV to the highest setting just to hear these guys talk. And the broadcasters themselves were all, I know, but it was like somebody, like, think about the money that is going into this production.
Right.
We couldn't figure out a way to fix their audio. Like, their audio was trash. I don't get it.
We're one generation away from people having big box TVs on the ground that children were forced to go up and choose between 3 channels. And you're bitching about some golf course audio from these guys playing in Montana wearing earbuds and like, oh, you couldn't hear every single thing. Like, get over it. You're fine. Like, I
am fine. I'm just saying it's a high production. It's like a high production thing. Like, what can we fix the audio? Is fixing audio a big deal?
Barack Obama was on the show. Gronk. And this is your takeaway. I can hear him. Goodness gracious. And by the way, was there a more unlikable pairing than Rodgers and DeChambeau? Like, that was the best, like, of the 2 biggest stooges you could ever put together. Like, 2 people that nobody likes. And you paired them together. And of course they had to win, which was, oh man, Tom Brady. You know what? Tom Brady actually plays real golf. Like, he plays like the amateurs would play, like hitting it into the woods and just doing these things where you're just like, God damn it, Tom. That's
also
I know
getting
exactly
tired. Getting tired on like the last 6 or 7 holes. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that 100%.
You're in a cart, bro. Like, what is happening? Like, this morning, I was really worried because, I'm on 6 and this guy rolls up in a cart when I'm on the green, and I'm like, oh my God. It turned out to be like a marshal or somebody. It wasn't a player. Cause I just had a feeling, cause like I wouldn't have cause I was playing by myself. I would not have let that guy play through. Cause if I ever see somebody in a golf cart and they ever want to play through, they're like, hey, do you mind if I play through? And if they're in a golf cart, I'll be like, are you a vet? Were you injured in the war? No? Then why aren't you walking? Walk.
What are you talking about?
Walk. I don't respect
people. A lot of people take golf carts. What are we talking about? It's
ridiculous.
What? Why?
It is asinine. The only time, sometimes there's courses that force you to do it, like Short Cliffs in San Clemente, forces you to do it because they're doing construction on the course And because I'm trying to like I politely ask him like, hey, do you mind? Like, I'll walk. Like, no, we need you to take a cart. And I'm like, no, like I'll walk. Like I know how long this course is. I feel like I've walked it before because you got to go through some like storm drains or whatever. And the young lady who was super nice, I was not being combative, but I was just pleading my case. And she's like, I understand where you're coming from. She's like, see me after the round and let me know what you think. And I said, okay, fair enough. So we jumped, and they didn't charge you for the cart, which is great. It wasn't a price thing. It's like, I just want to get my steps in. I feel better if I'm walking. It helps me set up my next shot. And then when I get back, she's like, how did it go? And I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I took the cart. Because there was like 4 holes that were erased, and they reconfigured a bunch of things. And I'm like, oh yeah, like it would have taken me, like groups would have passed us if we were walking. So unless it's that kind of circumstance.
And again, I don't want to be this first world guy, but like, have you never played at a country club? You have to take a golf cart. What are you talking about?
It depends. I don't know. I grew up in a country club. We walked that.
Okay.
Bitch, like all the time.
They give you a golf cart. They're like, okay, here, take this, ride around, drink some beers. We'll see the beer cart lady at 9 in various other holes, and we'll see you later.
Okay, I'm not there late enough for the beer cart. So
okay,
unless you're some sort of alky. But in any event, my country club that I'll be joining in Indio is they're that way. Like I always fight with them. But once I own a house on that course, I'm gonna be like, dude, I'm jumping on. I'm gonna jump on right here at 4, and you're not gonna be able to stop me.
Going back to the match here, I had a couple takeaways. One, and they're both about Aaron Rodgers. One, his drive, like. His first few drives, I thought he mishit the ball. They're just these weird ass low line drives that I completely thought that he missed. But that, I guess, is his drive. I don't know, Rank. What did you think of his drive? Like, who the hell drives the ball like this?
No, I have a similar trajectory. I can't tee the ball. I've tried to fix my swing because you're supposed to like drop your shoulder and you want to be swinging up on the ball.
Yeah, launch
you see
angle,
like
right.
Bryson does this perfectly, and they swing up on it. Phil does it really well. I cannot hit the ball that way. I have to have, because you're supposed. I think the rule of thought is that you're supposed to be a full ball length ahead of your driver. Like if you're grounding your driver, I can't do that. I usually have to go half or less. And I will hit a low. I hit it like low too. And I have the loft on my driver is 10.5. I would assume that Rodgers is in a similar situation. I don't know. Some people just prefer that. I don't like to get too, I don't know. Like you learn how to swing a certain way, and eventually you saw what he does. He hits the ball very well. So there's no reason for him to change that at all. And I think sometimes that's just the way it goes.
The other thing I took away from Aaron Rodgers, well, actually, now that I think about it, I've got 2 other takeaways. But one is there anything this man can't do?
Rodgers?
Rodgers.
Or
like,
Brady.
He's
They're
good on
both
Jeopardy.
good.
He's good in actual football. And the guy is a hell of a golfer, too. Like,
yeah.
Let's be real here. Like, the guy was hitting shots off the tee better than Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah.
Didn't have the distance, obviously.
Wasn't he?
Hey, listen, didn't have the distance, but I mean...
Yep. He does everything
He was awesome
perfect,
off the tee.
except for being a son. But everything else, he's perfect. No, I don't mean that in a bad way. Doesn't he not get along with his family? Wasn't that like a?
He doesn't.
Wasn't that the thing from the Bachelor?
By
the way, you know what's my
Adam Rank with the drive-by. Good Lord.
The most impressive thing is Aaron Rodgers always has that, hey, look at me, everything's cool, like life is great. And then the hole where he had to play the entirety with it, with his 3-wood, we got to see real Aaron Rodgers and how upset he was because he was heated. Like they had to mute the mics for a little bit, and he was not cracking jokes. He was not smiling. He turned off. And
first of all,
it's kind of what?
First of all, how are we? So you're glossing over the fact that Tom Brady probably had his mic muted more often than Aaron Rodgers? Really? We're glossing over the fact that he was dropping F-bombs and S-bombs? Really?
He's playing golf. Like there's nothing that's out of character
Thank you.
for Brady.
I agree. Which is why How do you apply that to Tom Brady, but you don't apply that to Aaron? How do you do that?
Because it's Brady. That's Brady. Aaron Rodgers is trying to present himself in a different light, but then he can't. You eventually expose yourself for who you are. And I think that's what happened with Aaron Rodgers. Is like, hey, I'm all smiles and everything's cool. And then you're like, oh, wait, this is how he really is. Because I've heard some stories about him that are not flattering. And you're like, yeah, this is it. I see where it is. Like, he's not, Tom Brady was upset, but he was still, Tom Brady. Like, he didn't shut down. He didn't go super quiet.
I will go ahead and apply my Adam Rank logic here and just say, he was able to, turn on the camera magic as soon as the cameras got on him. I mean, come on, dude. What are you talking about over here?
Who, Rodgers?
No, Tom Brady. Oh, he can cuss and do all these things and be frustrated with his shots and then turns it on for the cameras, but it's fine. But Aaron Rodgers shows a little emotion and all of a sudden he's a bad guy? Come on, man. What are you talking about?
He got super salty. I'm just telling you.
I know he got salty. As you said, it's golf. You get salty on the golf course. That's exactly what happens. First of all, who among us has not... Have you broken a club while playing? Have you broken a club while playing? I know I have. I've gotten frustrated.
From swinging it with a shot?
No, I got I shanked a shot with, I don't even remember what it was. And then I slammed my club into my bag. And when I did that, I think I broke one of my drivers.
Okay. That's terrible. You should not be proud of that.
It's not. I'm not. It's stupid.
I've not.
But it's golf.
I've not done that. But it's also when you get upset. Usually, I'm more vocal. Instead of club throwing, I'm more vocal, and I'm very critical of myself. And I'll call myself the dumbest person alive. Like, you're just the dumbest. Like, Adam, you're the dumbest guy ever. Like, you continue to do stupid things. Like, why are you this dumb? How do you tie your shoes in the morning? I can't believe. Like, why would you? Like, there was one, like, on 9 today. I should have just putted with my 8-iron like I normally do. But I used my putter, and I was just so upset with myself. Like, you're the dumbest person who ever walked the face of the earth. There's nobody dumber than you. Like, I don't know how you function. I don't know how. I'm surprised I can remember how to breathe. That's how stupid I feel. And I'll say that. There's a difference between you're upset. Like, I play with guys who get upset. And I will sit there, and this happened to me the other day. It was on 3 at Big Rec, and it was an approach. I had a killer drive, approach shot, and the second I hit it, I'm like, Adam, you're the stupidest son of a bitch who ever lived. Put my club back in my bag. The ball's still in the air, by the way. Put the club in the bag. Had the bag on my shoulders while it landed, and it landed in a sand trap. And I'm sitting there, and I'm muttering to myself or whatever. By the time I parred that hole, actually I bogeyed it. Yeah, doesn't matter. Okay. That hole's over. And you go on and you're like, like whatever. Rodgers is the guy who gets mad and then like you can't talk to him for the next 13 holes. And if it wasn't for Bryson bailing him out, he would have been the guy who would have been like, and if you had to share a cart with him, this is another reason why I don't like karting. Because you start karting with the person who's not playing well. And you got to sit there and like, oh, this is uncomfortable. Or he wants to start doing shots or something stupid. And you're like, look.
Buddy, I don't even understand what you're talking about. You're saying he got upset, and then you're saying it's fine if you get upset, and then by the time you're done with the hole, and then you're done with the hole, the next hole, if you're fine, then that's fine.
But that's not
which is exactly what happened to Aaron Rodgers. Like he got upset.
He only got pulled out.
And then the next hole, he's fine.
Because Bryson pulled him out of it. Because Bryson saved his ass. If Aaron Rodgers kept shanking shots, he would not have talked for the rest of the afternoon. Guaranteed. I know it. I know people like that. I know how it works.
Now we're projecting. Now we're projecting
I'm not
what
projecting.
He's going to do.
I
Yes,
can
you
tell.
are.
I'm an observer.
I can
like
tell.
it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like this is you wonder why. Like how does Aaron Rodgers always lose in the playoffs? And it was like very, very telling what happened there. Like, what happened?
How does
in
he
that
always
whole-
lose in the playoffs? Is it because his defenses are giving up like 30 points a game?
Bro,
Could that possibly have something to do with it?
He always makes the plays. There's small plays that he doesn't execute, and that's why his team loses. I know everybody goes back to last year, and they're like, why did Matt LaFleur settle for a field goal? I'm like, I don't know, because his quarterback didn't want to try to run the ball into the end zone. Maybe that's why he settled for a field goal. He'd seen enough.
Have you not seen Devin White with a 4.240 chase down guys? You really think slow ass 36-year-old Aaron Rodgers is going to run it in from 8? You think he's going to run it in? You think he's going to run it in from 8 yards out?
Is he Tom Brady now?
Really?
Like, everybody acts like he's some tremendous athlete, but apparently if he's not, that's
he's
fine.
He's got to go 8 yards against Devin White at his 4.3 speed. Like, really?
Do you want to go to the Super Bowl or not? Like, it's by the way, people still drag Cam to this day for not jumping on a fumble in a game his team was getting blown out in. Right. I don't know how Aaron Rodgers, I do know how Aaron Rodgers escapes the scrutiny of it, but yeah, that's on him. And you can see his personality, and it starts coming through.
Let me give you my third. Let me give you my third takeaway here from the Aaron Rodgers thing, which is, and you're gonna like this at first, and then you're gonna hate it. But I can see why teammates would be annoyed with Aaron Rodgers. He's got that very. It's not cool. It's actually cold demeanor. He actually does have a somewhat cold demeanor. Where he gives you these really extraordinarily dry humor things, right? And maybe I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt by even saying it's dry humor. Maybe it's not even. Maybe they're just snipes. I don't know. So I can see why some people would think, okay, this guy is funny, and other people would think, oh man, this guy, I can't handle it. He's too cold, because he's not that Kevin Hart, over the top, warm personality. He's just not that guy. Now, I will give it to Tom, because I thought Tom Brady comes off a lot warmer than Aaron Rodgers, and I can see why Tom, even though he's this, weird, TB12 method,
takes care of his body, so he's weird. He eats well, sicko.
His business partner promotes, cancer water, type of guy. Tom Brady's a weird guy. Let's be real. But he's a warm dude. And so I can understand why people like him. And that's fine. Aaron Rodgers reminded me of another coworker that I had who also does a lot of dry humor. That person would be you, Adam.
Better not be me. You better not think it's me.
That person is you.
That is so mean.
His dry ass humor here's the thing, people watching this. I want you guys to know. On camera, Adam, there's no one better. No one more engaging. He's a complete beast on camera. Super over the top, love his personality, all these things. High energy guy. That's why he and I get along, because he's so high energy on camera. I'm a high energy dude on camera. Off camera, Adam Rank barely talks above a whisper. And he has the driest freaking humor. It's the driest ass humor, but it's funny. It is actually funny. Aaron Rodgers reminds me of that guy. He reminds me of you, Adam Rank.
Such a terrible thing to say. What an awful, awful thing to say.
I told you you're going to hate this at the end, man.
Hate it at the end. So ridiculous.
Why do you hate this guy? As a matter of fact, after watching him play golf, I'm like, yo, Adam should like this guy more.
Hate him.
He should like him more.
We'll see what happens when he goes to Denver, how much I like. Maybe I'll love him.
Maybe I'll be.
I wonder what team. Denver's not going to do it for me. It was tough because Jake Plummer, actually, when Jake Plummer played at Denver, and he played with Mike Shanahan, so I kind of liked that team. I was kind of into it. I can't see, I think for Aaron Rodgers, I just can't see him wanting to go play for Vic Fangio. Maybe he does. Like, who knows? Like, maybe that would actually work out better for him, because he could have a
100%.
coach who's not offensive minded. And who's
Right.
the offensive coordinator? It's still what, Pat Shermer or somebody like that. He
Yeah,
could just be
some
like,
guy.
bro, I'm the offensive coordinator. Like, get out of my way. Just go up in the booth. And if you see something up there, just like, let me know. That might actually work out to his benefit. Because we were talking about that the other night. I think it was on the CBS pod thing or whatever. Or maybe it was the podathon. I don't know. There's been so many different things going on recently. And so maybe that's the best. I kind of wonder, like, if he had gotten, well, no, San Francisco, I would have hated him. Like, where obviously Chicago would have loved him. I felt like if he would have gone to like Jack, I don't know. Like, he seems like maybe if he was on a team that I wasn't rooting against all the time, I could see myself like, hey, this is kind of like it is. I do like the, cause he was so dismissive about, like, he's talking about, like, apparently he lives in Southern California because he says he doesn't play golf out here. And he's like, well, you know, like, it takes an hour to get any, like, he's like, there's no place to golf in LA. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And granted, I live in Long Beach, so it's a little bit different. I have like 3 championship courses surrounding me. All right, I live in Huntington Beach, but shut up. I don't want to talk about it. Let's just pretend I live in Long Beach. I'm Long Beach adjacent. And so you can play Big Rec, you can play El Dorado or Skylinks. There's Recreation Park, which was what I played this morning. Teed off at 5:20. Like the starters, the starter's not even there.
No, I get it, but to Rodgers' point though, in LA, unless you're part of LA Country Club, there's no country clubs. There's a ton of country clubs in the San Diego area. I think he's got a home. I think he's got a home in La Jolla, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe it's Del Mar or something like that.
He can't go to
and
Rancho.
They've got a ton of country clubs.
He's not going to go play the Muni.
Bruh, Aaron Rodgers ain't playing no Rancho, bruh. Come on, dude. Like, no. There's no country clubs out here. And I actually heard that it's actually extremely difficult to get into LA Country Club. I wouldn't know. I'm not at that level.
No, yeah. Riviera would probably be the one. If he ever wants to come out and join me at my club at Indian Palms, he's welcome. I would actually enjoy that.
Okay, there you go.
I think, you know what's funny is watching it, I'm like, I go, Rodgers is way better than me. I'm like, I think I can take Brady.
God, Rodgers is so good. Yeah, no, I agree. I couldn't take Tom Brady, but I'm saying at least there would be a lot of.
If you had to count,
there'd be a lot of holes would be similar.
Yeah, I think if you had to count all of his OBs, and I think I would probably if I was playing Brady, I don't know, because I know he's probably a little bit nervous because he's playing with Phil, even though I think that Phil helps out so much. Like, here, putt it here and do all that stuff.
Right.
I feel like if I was playing with Phil, I would play pretty well, and I would never take out although I was smacking my driver today. Maybe I wouldn't, but if it started going south, I would just pull out my 5-wood, which I can't miss with, and then just, take my approach shots with my 6 instead of my 9 or 60 degree. And just go at it that way. I think I could compete with Tom Brady, but Aaron is it looked like on a different level.
Like, I was just so impressed by Aaron Rodgers. Like, I'm like, how is he so damn good at this? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, what's going on here? But yeah, no. By the way, Florida Tom is a different Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady has gotten so much more likable now that he's away from Bill Belichick. Like, good Lord. I love this guy now.
Oh yeah, and he was out there throwing the trophy after the 7th Super Bowl, which of course you do. Like, you know what it's like once you have like multiple kids or anything like that. You're like, the second one's like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm sort of concerned with what the boy does. With my youngest is the boy. Same. Oh yeah. So you know what's funny too is he's got this trick, because I spend the most time with my kids. And so he's got this thing where when he's done with his high chair, he stands up in it and jumps out of it.
Oh God, no!
And it's really impressive. And we just have one rule.
Oh God!
I'm like, Wedge, here's our only rule: don't let your mom see you do this. That's the only thing I ask. You can do whatever you want, just don't let your mom see it. Like, he's been walking around, and his mother will catch him. Like, how did he get out of his high chair? And I throw his sister under the bus, and I'm like, Ahsoka got him out. She's like, okay. And then thankfully she's smart enough to go along with it. Like, she's now like become as devious as I am. So she's like, yeah, I totally got him out. And I'm like, did you? And she's like, no, he jumped. I'm like, all right, could be cool. And then, but yesterday, dude stood up, jumped out, his mother saw it, and now all three of us are in trouble. Because then there was an investigation about how far back this went. Like, how long has he been doing it? I don't know. I don't know what the point of that was.
Yeah. I don't know
you were
either,
talking
buddy.
about Tom Brady being.
Yeah,
but
Tom
like,
Brady.
yeah,
More
you're a little
likable.
bit
Way more likable now.
You're a
way
little
more
looser.
likable now.
Oh,
yeah.
He's amazing. I always thought when he won his first Super Bowl, and he was in the press conference afterwards and was just like, I can't believe what happened. He's like, what's up? Like, he was such a likable person. And I know it's tough for a lot of Gen Z kids, even some millennials who can't remember back that far, that people were rooting for the New England Patriots to beat the St. Louis Football Club. Like, people were legitimately, the Patriots were the Cinderella story. Unless you were like one of the 14 St. Louis fans in the world, you wanted the Patriots to win. And this is before the Red Sox had won a World Series and the Celtics still sucked. And I don't even know who their hockey team is, but they probably blew. Everybody was
The Bruins?
so, yeah, whatever. They were so excited for the Patriots, and Tom Brady was a lot of fun. It wasn't until
there was, by the way, there was also this like not random, but this backdrop story of them being the Patriots
after 9/11.
9/11.
Yeah.
Right. So it was all built in. Like, I remember, was it Teddy Bruschi who actually ran out? They ran out as a team. I remember that.
First team, first squad that ever did that. They ran out as a team.
And carrying the American flags. So yeah, no, there was a lot of symbolism going into that game too. And you're right. 20 years later, it's like the Patriots are the evil empire. But in 2001, wasn't the case. They were this plucky underdog that no one really gave a chance. Tom Brady was this rando 7th round pick or whatever.
Yeah.
Replacing a great quarterback in Drew Bledsoe, and no one really gave him a shot. No one gave him a chance against Kurt Warner, Ike Bruce, and all these guys.
I gave him a shot.
Torrey Holt.
I was working
Marshall
for NFL
Faulk.
Publishing at that time, and we had put together the Super Bowl program, and I really thought the Patriots were going to win that game. And there's a story. If I wasn't an actual, I'm not a league. I don't know if I can get retroactively in trouble for this. But
You probably can.
a lot of my friends were
Knowing
very
the league,
happy.
yeah, you can.
A lot of my friends were very happy with my prognostication. We'll just leave it at
that. Okay, we shall leave it at that. I don't know what any other takeaways you had from that. Oh, I love the fact that they asked him about whether he's going to play week 1. He deflected. Aaron Rodgers did. That was great.
They talked about the Chicago game because they were like, "Hey, there's Bears out there. Are you going to face the Bears?" And he's like, "I don't know." And then they asked him like about week 1, and he goes, "Which one's that one?" You know what? I love it. I love that he's trolling and doing all that stuff because it's not my team. And, I'm about a year away from caring who other teams' quarterbacks are because Justin Fields is going to go out there and hopefully play very well at some point.
Rip it up.
No, I'm just saying, like, if Justin Fields comes out and performs very well, and I'm not even going to put him into the Patrick Mahomes category. But if he was Deshaun Watson played very well as a rookie. Josh Allen played well his 3rd season. If he's somewhere in that mix to where you're like, like Russell Wilson during his first couple of years, Patrick Mahomes is the high side. I understand all of that. But I think that if he can come out and play that way, and it's interesting too, because I was writing about the Denver Broncos recently, and I'm talking about Patrick Surtain.
I mean, even Patrick Mahomes, though, Rank, like he sat down his entire first year. It was Alex Smith. It was Alex Smith the entire way until week 17, I think it was.
Alex Smith playing very well, though. Alex Smith was still like a very good quarterback that final year in Kansas City. And then I think they just knew how good Patrick Mahomes was going to be. So they moved him 100%. On. They moved him to the football team. The thing is, too, but I was talking about the Broncos and Patrick Surtain. And so somebody was asking me, they're like, hey, well, what if Surtain ends up being an all-pro and I don't think it'll matter. And I said, that's very true. Let's think about this. Jamal Adams, one of the best players at his position in the NFL.
Yes.
He was also selected ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Which player would you rather have? If you're a fan of the Denver Broncos, would you rather would you rather the Chiefs had Patrick Mahomes or Jamal Adams? And so Surtain could go out there and be the best. He could be the best at his position. And I know that I'm shooting for the high side. But if Justin Fields is at a Patrick Mahomes level, you're going to kick yourself for that. If he's at
I'll put it to you a different way. How about, let's not even mention Patrick, because as you mentioned, Mahomes is just on a different level. How about Kyler? Like, let's say he's Kyler right now. Kyler has some flaws. Kyler's a very, you could see the trajectory with Kyler. You could also see the downside with Kyler, to be honest with you. Anyone who thinks this guy's some kind of flawless prospect is fooling themselves, right?
Right. Yeah, he's but he's also Jose Altuve's height, where Justin Fields
that's what I
is
mean.
a big dude.
No, but that's what I'm saying, though. Let's say it's a quarterback like that, where you're okay, he's got some flaws. But we can certainly see the upside. Would you rather have Jamal Adams or Kyler Murray right now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It still goes to Kyler Murray. Yeah,
right, exactly. It still goes with Kyler.
It is fascinating to me. And you think about the Denver Broncos, and your team president is one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. Arguably, to some people, think that he was the best that ever done it. And there is some room, like if you went back and looked at it, like this was the NFL before free agency and anything like that.
Right.
And those Broncos teams, the players they surrounded him with were dog ass. Like they were not great teams. And yet he always had them. The teams that he got to the Super Bowl were terrible. And they got blown out. And it was always like a thing like, well, Elway kind of sucks. You're like, that team sucks.
Right.
Like even peak Buffalo Bills. And I think it would have been the year that the Cowboys won. I think it was the Super Bowl 27 year, where that AFC championship game, Elway almost pulled that off and almost got them. One of the years, Elway almost pulled off a miracle. And then he would have gone and he would have played either the football team or the Cowboys, and he would have gotten blown out again, and it would have looked terrible. But there are people that believe that Elway could be the greatest quarterback of all time. If you put him in a different situation, who knows what happens? He still can't draft a quarterback. Like they just cannot pick a quarterback. And it's got to be so frustrating. Last year, a Vic Fangio team was 25th in scoring defense, which was his worst since that ill-fated year he spent with the Texans. I think it was 2015 or something like that, where they were the worst defensive team in the NFL. And it is just so crazy. Like, how are the Broncos? Like, this is like you have a defensive-minded coach and you have one of the great all-time quarterbacks. Your quarterback sucks and your defense let you down last year. Although I will say this season, if they get Bradley Chubb and Von Miller on the field at the same time, they've only been on the field like since 2019. They've played 4 games together. But then you added Kyle Fuller, and I think Surtain's going to be a good player. They've got some other Jones, who's playing against, who plays opposite of Shelby Harris. They got a good team. Like they've got a good defensive team
for sure.
But you still got to, you got to get that quarterback, because you look at them, and they could conceivably get to the playoffs. And we saw what happened last year when the Chiefs ran into a pretty good team that had a great defense, and of course the Chiefs had problems on the offensive line, but hey, you got a good defense. You can shut them down. But you look at that division and you look at Mahomes, and if Justin Herbert continues on his trajectory, Derek Carr is one of the more disrespected good quarterbacks in the NFL. It's like, you got to solve that quarterback issue. And I feel like passing on Justin Fields is going to be one of those things that we look back on and we're like, what were you guys thinking?
I feel like the conspiracy theory surrounding that pick, and that I kind of sort of buy into, is the fact that maybe they were making that pick thinking like, can we flip this to Green Bay? Maybe they love Surtain, and they could flip that into Aaron Rodgers somehow. Maybe they give up a couple first round picks, they give up Surtain, and we're off and running. I don't think I like that conspiracy theory. I don't think that is going to end up working. And ultimately what you got to do, I would actually think that, listen, if you actually had Justin Fields and he balled out, his first couple, let's say 8 weeks in the season, he's doing well. And let's be real, like that team is set up to succeed on offense.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton says he's
my
back
God.
healthy. Jerry Jeudy is in the mix. Tim Patrick, who I think is a perfect flanker in the NFL. It's
Noah
like,
Fant.
listen, got Noah Fant, athletic
Hamler.
tight end. KJ Hamler off the bench being a nice rotational piece. You talk about the running backs, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. This team is set up to succeed, Adam Rank, on offense. All they're missing is a quarterback right now. I just think, like, if they took Justin Fields there, you can't lose because let's say 8 games in, he's balling out. Now you call up Green Bay and say, hey, listen, we'll give you Justin Fields and whatever. You give us, we'll give you Justin Fields in a first rounder. You give us Aaron Rodgers. How does Green Bay turn that down?
Yeah.
You can't turn that down if you're Green Bay.
Not at all.
Again, that also, when you make that move, you're giving up on Jordan Love, which is, by the way, we haven't seen Jordan Love. I don't know if that
Feel
is the
free
right
to
call
do
or
that.
not.
You're fine.
Yeah, it's like, listen, if Fields is balling, you just take that pick, and then maybe you flip Jordan Love for something. Maybe you can flip him for a second round pick or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I just felt like that's the move, Adam Rankin. You know what? They didn't do that. Instead, they took a cornerback, and now I just feel like they're just trapped in this. They're going to be mired in this. They're going to be, like the 6 to 9 win team, and just trapped in this little bubble forever.
Yeah, when you are relying on your defense to carry you, it is too fine of a line to walk, and it is why these teams consistently are unable to string together multiple Super Bowl championships.
Right.
And you look
the
at it,
window is so small.
The smallest thing will blow you right off the edge. If you think about the Bears, just go back to 2018, the double doink did them in. Like, you had to be so perfect that even Cody Parkey missing one field goal, and he had missed a field goal earlier in the year against Miami that cost them a game. And it's just, you can't continue to walk the high wire like that. You need the quarterback. And so I think that Green Bay, as much fun as we're having, being like, oh, is Aaron Rodgers going to be there? It's going to be Jordan Love versus Taysom Hill week 1, which would have been Tampa, was once going to be a marquee game with Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, is now Jordan Love versus not Kellen Mond. Who's the guy? Oh, Ian Book, maybe. Right? That's who they took. They took the Notre Dame quarterback.
Who, the Saints?
Yeah. They took
I
the
don't
Notre
remember
Dame
who the
guy,
hell they
Book,
took.
right? What is that his name?
I have no idea. Bro.
Jay, tell me what it is. Warzone Sports Network. Tell us what it is. Who is that?
Ian Book.
Ian Book,
Ian
right?
Book.
I was right. Yeah,
Ian Book. You got it.
So
they also have Trevor Siemian on the roster somehow.
Oh, yeah. So it's just, I don't know. It's fun. I did like that, and I did like that Tom Brady was kind of trolling it out there, and he'd been kind of needling the Packers in their situation. But you know what? At the bottom line is that Aaron Rodgers is going to end up being the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers in week 1. I'm not even going to try to get my hopes up. It's kind of like when you go up and you're taking a final and you haven't studied for it, and you show up and it's 1 minute past the hour and the professor's not there. You don't start to get excited that perhaps your professor's not showing up until about maybe 10 minutes after. 15 minutes after you're legally allowed to walk out, go up to the sociology department and say, hey, our professor didn't show up for the final. This legitimately happened to me. Wow. And I remember they were like, okay, well, you're going to have to come back. I said, okay, we'll figure it out. Because I had not studied for this final. And I was writing a C. Yeah. I remember going up to the sociology department and they're like, hey, well, here's your 2 options. You can take the grade that you have right now, or you can take the final to try to improve it. And I said, good luck to you. I am going
see you
to
later.
not
Bye.
take that. I'm going to take my gentleman's C. It is kind of
Give me
like
that C, baby. Give
it's
me
like
that
draining.
C all day
It's like
long.
draining a bogey putt, like a far bogey putt. You're like, okay, I got away with one there. It's not perfect, but I got away with one.
I'll take it.
the
Yes,
bogey.
I'll take it.
And I'm
Yes,
going to get
I
out
will
of here.
take that. 100%. 100%.
Unless it's a par 5. No,
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how we got down this road. Although this happens a lot with us.
we're talking football. There's legitimate
We're talking
football
football.
takes that everybody
I think so.
had left.
I think we were
30
I don't know.
minutes in. 40 minutes in, we started getting into football takes. I do want to say one thing, though, before we wrap this up. I did want to mention the Scott Fish Bowl, which is happening right now. A lot of fun. Industry-wide for everybody that was lucky enough to be a part of this. Huge industry event. Make sure that you help support Fantasy Cares. It's a great organization, great charity event. So anything, of course, helps. So anything that you got rolling around in your pockets, want to make a small donation, please look into that. You can find that on the Scott Fish Bowl site. My team so far, it's a super flex league.
Superflex and tight end premium, right?
Tight end premium, quarterbacks, 6 points for a passing touchdown, -4 for an interception.
Perfect.
The James Code methodology. So I had the very first pick, and I, of course, will have the last pick in the second round. And then there was a reversal to where I had the last pick in the second round and the last pick in the third round before I got the first pick in the fourth round. And looking back, at first I'm like, this is garbage, but it is pretty fair. I think it actually works out to be the most fair way that you can do this, because I like having the first pick, because I actually kind of like having the first pick in the fourth round. So I go, you know what? This is actually a little bit better. So my first two picks, because of the premium, I did pass on Travis Kelce, but with the premium or the negative that comes with throwing an interception, I started off by picking Patrick Mahomes, who does not throw interceptions.
No, he doesn't.
And all the quarterbacks in a super flex, as you can imagine, go flying off the board. I was allowed to take Tom Brady. Again, no interceptions. He's going to throw 40 touchdowns this year, maybe 5 picks. And then I eventually stacked him with Chris Godwin. So I feel really good about myself right now. I feel really good about my team. And so
I feel like you have a little bit of an unfair advantage because you have played in a 6-4 league before, because we've played in that league together.
Oh, and it's
you realize how difficult it is to cobble together streaming quarterbacks when you get dinged on interceptions like that.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult. So people think like, oh, I'll just do what I normally do and just wait on quarterback.
I'll pick up Gardner Minshew. I mean, Gardner's a terrible example now because he's the backup.
Cannot do it.
Can't do that, S.
No.
I know. I got to, and I actually need to look into getting a third quarterback who probably won't be Justin Fields because he'll probably be gone. But by the way, you know what pick I made? I just made it in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, maybe the 7th or 8th round. I actually took Trey Sermon. I think in the 7th round, I took Trey Sermon because I lost out on Travis Etienne. But I took Trey Sermon, and I think that this is a player.
Are you going to follow this up with a little Raheem Mostert, combo?
I might if I can. I ended up taking Jerry Jeudy because I think of all the second year. I think of all the second year quarterback or second year.
I love it.
Wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy is the guy. When you just, I was reading something. I think it was on RotoViz. Forgive me if I'm not giving the proper site the respect, but I think RotoViz had a very exceptional article recently talking about the second year breakout receivers, and I agreed with their conclusion. I love CeeDee Lamb a lot, and I would try to get CeeDee Lamb. I would take CeeDee Lamb over any of the Cowboys wide receivers. I would take CeeDee Lamb over Amari Cooper, but I think that Jerry Jeudy is the guy the most primed to break out, and thankfully because people are so concerned about Drew Lock that they don't want to take Jerry Jeudy, but you're like, Joe Flacco was the quarterback when Cortland Sutton broke out. So let's not worry about this. So Jerry Jeudy is a guy that I'm targeting a lot in a lot of spots.
Well, and if it ends up being Teddy Bridgewater, which I think it ultimately will be, like he can't get the ball downfield. Who's he going to love? He's going to absolutely love. He's going to absolutely love Jerry Jeudy.
He was second in the NFL last season on completion percentage on throws of less than 10 air yards. You know who was number one? You know who's the best in that category?
I have no idea.
Aaron Rodgers.
I should know this, but I don't know this. Aaron Rodgers. Okay.
So I'm like,
to be honest with you, that's actually that's extremely impressive.
Yeah.
Because who the hell is he throwing to?
Yeah,
other than Devontae Adams, who's like triple teamed every play.
A lot of Bob Tunyon.
Hey, there you go. By the way, Fantasy Cares, which is what Scott Fishbowl has kind of sort of put together with this industry-wide thing. It is such a great thing that he has built over the years. And I've met Scott Fish, tremendous guy, lovable dude, and And I actually feel bad. Last couple of years I haven't played in the Scott Fish Bowl for various reasons. But anytime I can give them a platform and talk about what they're doing, I will do that. His big thing is this charity has donated largely to Toys for Tots, and the money does go in various other relief efforts in other different charities as well. But listen, man, as you mentioned, Adam Rank, it is an industry-wide thing. It's such a good cause. And honestly, I really honestly cannot believe Scott Fish puts this much time and effort into this charitable organization. So it is a wonderful thing that he's doing. And I would strongly encourage folks to go check it out. And if you want to be a part of it, hey, listen, you get to go. This is what's great for you regular fantasy folks out there. You get to go and play in a league with Adam Rank. You get to go and play in a league. I think Marcus Grant is in this thing too. And you get to go up head to head against some of your favorite fantasy analysts. Where else can you do that? It's hard to do that. Like, I know, Adam, you have a listener league. I've got listener leagues. Although I don't even know what to call my listener leagues now because they're not listening to me anywhere. I'm not doing a podcast this year. Where the hell are they going to listen to me? But I'm just saying, we do fan leagues, and those are fine, but there's not a ton of those. I've got a couple fan leagues that I do. So maybe it's like 25 people total that get to partake in this deal, right? This is another way for you to kind of do that. And also, by the way, money is being donated to a good cause. So please check them out.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. Adam Rank, any last thoughts? What you got?
I think today is the anniversary of Hulk Hogan's infamous turn to join the NWO. Yeah, I think this is the Bash of the Beach day. Wow. Momentous occasion in wrestling history. One of the most shocking. Oh yeah,
it was so shocking. Do you remember where you were? I was on my couch watching it. I was like this the entire time. I'm like,
I had to watch it. Somebody had to give me a VHS tape. So I didn't even get to watch it live. So I watched it the next day, and it was incredible. And I remember being shocked. And I know that we were, scholars will debate this for centuries, whether Bobby the Brain Heenan did the wrong thing by asking whose side is he on. And I tend to believe that it's so on brand for Bobby the Brain Heenan that his whole thing was, I told you, I've been telling you guys for years, he's a bad dude.
Right.
I think that it was smart to have somebody in the booth say, like, whose side is he on? Because Tony Schiavone did such an excellent job of, like, would you shut up? Like, stop it. Like, he's here to defend WCW. And it just showed that no matter how long Hulk Hogan had been in WCW, he was through and through a WWE guy. And that if he could ever turn on WCW, he was going to do that. Right. So it was not, like, the layers of it. And it is really, something that WWE has not been able to do since, we had CM Punk's pipe bomb. We had the Nexus invasion. We had some other things. And outside of surprises like Edge returning back to the Royal Rumble 2 years ago, or maybe it was 2020? I don't know. The years run together. Because of the Pan-D, the years kind of run together. That's right. I'm trying to get, whenever you refer to the pandemic, if you can refer to it as the hashtag Pan-D, I would appreciate it. The WWE has never been, and it wasn't even the WWE that did it.
No.
And outside of, and I think AEW has done a pretty nice job with the way that they've infused Impact and New Japan into the AEW storylines. And at some point, we're going to get, like, we did have a little bit of with the Young Bucks, reforming the Elite and everything like that.
There will never be a more shocking moment in pro wrestling history. There just won't be.
There really couldn't be anything unless Cody showed up on WWE television tomorrow. There is nothing that would be as shocking. Maybe if Cody and Kenny Omega showed up at Raw, even then, it's not possible. The reason I say this is because Hulk Hogan, you can say whatever you want, but Hulk Hogan at that time was one of the 5 most recognizable people on planet Earth. Forget pro wrestling.
Forget America. I'm talking worldwide. He was one of the 5 most recognizable faces in the world. And he had spent over a decade building the Hulkster brand. Eat your vitamins, say your prayers, do those things. Like, he spent over a decade building that brand, and he had built it to the point where he was a world recognized figure for that brand. And what he did was then he took that brand and he crumpled it up and threw it in the trash, and he turned and created the NWO. Like that, you can't replicate that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know what you would do. Like, I'm trying to think about a global superstar that could do something. It would be like, but see, even The Rock, who has now surpassed Hulk Hogan in terms of worldwide stardom, he couldn't do that because he's already done that. Like, he's already been the corporate Rock. You know what I'm saying? He was already a heel, then turned face, then turned heel, then turned face, right? So even he wouldn't be able to do that. It's a moment that can never be recreated in pro wrestling history ever again. It will always be the most shocking moment in pro wrestling, because you just can't do that again.
Yeah. In entertainment, I'm trying to think of like things in movies or television, anything that was quite as shocking that it caused a stir. I think as little kids finding out that Darth Vader was actually Luke Skywalker's father.
Right.
Like that kind of stuck with you. But I'm sitting here as you're talking about that, as you mentioned, I'm like, what else in entertainment? Like what TV show twist or anything like that where you're like, oh my God, I never saw that coming. But I
think the Red Wedding is up there in terms of like actual visceral emotions coming out of the human body. I think the Red Wedding is up there, but like,
the end of
other than that
one Marvel movie where half of them get vaporized.
That one Marvel movie.
I don't know which one it is, but you know what I'm saying? Like that people took that to heart too.
Yeah,
but comic book movies, they always, you're like, they're not really dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Tony Stark's going to be back again soon.
Right.
So it's like,
I think we all,
nothing matters.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't have that visceral Hulk Hogan turning heel, that Red Wedding, Game of Thrones visceral reaction. I think those are the 2 moments in entertainment history that just get that, like, I don't know, man, like it's just this raw human emotion just coming out of you. You know what I mean? Like it's very rare because we've been so desensitized and jaded to everything, Adam Rank.
For sure. No, it's very true.
Anyways, I'm glad you brought that up, but we got to go, man. We have been, I don't know how the hell we spent just about an hour talking about the match, but it was a lot of fun. And Rank, it was, as always, good to get you back on the program.
Thank you.
And for all the folks that were kind of sort of, have been with us, man, we appreciate you guys, man. We really do. But for Adam Rank, I'm James Coe. We'll see you.